hope you're doing fine. This is Eva and you're watching The Casual Bit. So we are all aware of the reality that Australia is burning. Though at the time of recording it's raining in few parts of Australia, but the misery has not been reduced yet. Over billions of animals have died, more than 2,000 homes have been destroyed, and 30 people have died including 2 firefighters. And it is quite shocking to know that Australia is having its summertime which has just reached its midpoint. That means there are few more months that Australia has to face in this catastrophe. So basically there are many causes for this wildfire. For example, warm and dry winds, record-breaking heat, drought, positive Indian Ocean dipole, El Nino, overall climatic change and other causes. And in today's video, I'm not going to talk about all this, but there is this one story that I have for you. And that is regarding the love affair between conservative right-wing Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who has also fallen in love with Indian multinational conglomerate Adani Group. Oh, our very own Gautam Shantilal Adani. Yes, you have heard it right. Well, it's a decade-long story, but cutting short for you, it was last year in June 2019 when Adani got its final approval to set coal mines in Australia. And according to Adani, he's going to roll this project for 60 years and will extract some 2.6 billion tons of coal, which then will be exported to India in order to produce electricity, and some of it we will obviously give it to Bangladesh. So what's the issue? Well, this was the major Australian election issue back then in May 2019. So why were environmentalists and people were actually against this move? Why they are still criticizing Adani and the German company known as Siemens, which will help in building railroads, in order to transport coal from the mines to the port? So why are environmentalists and people criticizing about this move? Well, there are many reasons, and reason number 1. Climate. If mine does extract coal at the initial rate of 25 million tons a year, then average emissions from burning coal will amount to about 77 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. And if it goes at the peak production rate of 60 million tons a year, then it'll be around 120 million tons of carbon dioxide production every year. That is more than annual emissions of many countries. Also, for your information, the Carmichael coal mine, if run at its full potential, it would be the largest Australia has ever seen. And yes, Australia is the biggest exporter of coal, say 38% of global total, which somehow violates Australia's commitment to Paris Agreement in keeping global warming at well below 2 degrees C. Reason number 2, water. The most pressing environmental concern with Carmichael mine is its dependency on water, a precious resource in Australia. As recently you might have heard about deliberate killing of camels in Australia, as they were burdened to already water-deprived regions. Anyway, coal mining uses a lot of water, from cutting equipments to transporting coal as a slurry in pipelines. So about 250 liters of fresh water is used for each ton of coal produced. And as per the project, Adani itself has estimated that it will use 12 billion liters of water a year. Imagine 13 Olympic swimming pools a day, which definitely is going to have an impact on underground water levels in the region of the mine. Reason number 3, impacts on the Great Barrier Reef. Well, if you're aware about the coral reef, then you would know that reef maintains the whole ecosystem underwater. So basically marine life is completely dependent on coral reefs. And over the past many years, half of the corals on the reef has been killed in bleaching events, which was caused by rising water temperature, mostly as a result of climate change. So obviously the extent that coal from the mine contributes to global warming, it is a threat to the reef. But the mine will also have most direct impact, since the coal will be exported to India via shipping terminal on the Queensland coast at Abbot Point, as you can see it in the picture, opposite to the reef, which will obviously increase the risk of collision, spills and excessive coal dust harming corals, as eventually it is going to degrade the water qualities and starve the coral of sunlight, because basically coral has the symbiotic relation with algae. Algae lives on coral and coral gets food from the algae. So that's a kind of a symbiotic relation they maintain. If one dies, other dies by default, which will rupture the whole food chain undersea. Reason number 4, Adani's reputation. Well, I'm not saying this, but there is this report by Environmental Justice of Australia with a detailed long list of allegations of environmental damage caused by Adani Enterprises and its subsidiaries around the world. For example, alleged unsafe labor practices, illegal destruction of land, forced removal of local indigenous, and so on and so forth. So yeah, these are the reasons why people are protesting. They're not happy, they're not satisfied, and they worry about the future. But on the other side, there is this narration that if coal mines are, set up in Australia, then they will compensate for other part of the world and it'll kind of balance and it is no threat to environment. Plus, Adani promised to providing 10,000 jobs in Australia, which, by the way, analysts believe that it will only provide some 1,400 jobs because, if we consider the time span of 60 years, then it is obviously going to be the time of automation where human labor will be replaced by automated work, isn't it? So that was all about today's video, but the point is, at the time when we should think and promote renewable resources, why are we looking forward to burning fossil fuels? It's us who need to ask questions. It's us who are going to be the future. Like I always say, that environment is one thing that unites us. No matter what religion we belong, what ethnicity we follow, what color we are, what language we speak, but environment is something that makes us one. So it is our duty to protect it. It is our duty to raise our voices against such moves, isn't it? Like it's rightly said that the biggest threat to the environment is believing that someone else will save us. And time is now before it's too late. So until next video, stay woke.